let's see. This is the closing chapter to all of this. Maybe there's going to be more people to come forward. I do expect it to happen. I feel like there are more people in her inner circle that still haven't spoken up very loudly yet. So there might be more Cinder stuff that comes out. But as far as this chapter is concerned, for this channel and the news channel, we're done. After we see this apology and we see how she comes across, I won't be pretty much covering this anymore. And for those of you who do not know, there was part 1 and part 2. You want to check out those videos, but this is part 3, the closing argument by Cinder herself. An apology, she calls it. Here we go. There's nothing I can say to make this better. Absolutely. But I will try my best to properly convey my feelings, frustrations, and mistakes. I'd like to explain my point of view and apologize to each party affected. So far, so good, chat. So far, so good. Redacted has been my content creator since I Redacted has been my content creator since I began making content, managing all aspects of what I do. I really don't like how this apology started with somebody else. That's already a bad look, okay? The question, the person in question here, and the person you should start leading this whole thing is with yourself, okay? If you want to elaborate a little bit more in the future, you can bring up other people, but right now, what was needed from this apology was, I fucked up. I, Cinder. Just taking accountability. But it starts off already opening with this person. But let her cook. Let's let her cook. I wouldn't have started with somebody else. I would have started with myself. Redacted has been my co-content creator since I began making content. Managing all aspects of what I do. And being a major part of why I'm here. We have also been in a relationship since the start of my endeavors. It's no secret that many VTubers chose to keep their public and personal lives separate, and I'm no different. And I agree with this, chat. It's nobody else's business but her own, who she makes public and who she keeps private. I agree with this. Everybody is entitled to their whatever they want to share on stream and whatever they don't want to share on stream. As of yesterday, he is no longer working with me. Highly doubt this will be the case unless you're planning to break up with him. And I have not extensively discussed any of this with him. So you're in a relationship with somebody, and that somebody knows that he's in the fire, because he's not stupid. He knows he's been called out all over the internet. How do you not discuss this already? That's just weird. Like, he's your boyfriend. How are you keeping secrets from him? Either that's a really fucked up relationship or where there's no communication, or there's some lying here. But let's continue. I have not extensively discussed any of this with him. Where our personal situation goes from here will be figured out between us privately. I never intended to mention us publicly. But given that the claims are out there, I want everybody to know I'm taking this seriously. After years of working on everything together, this hyper-business-oriented outlook warped my view of what it is I should be doing and what should be important to me as I navigate this career path. I have a terrible work-life balance as it is, and being around projects and streams all day, every day, made me lose sight of the point. It took all of this happening for me to realize this behavior isn't normal or healthy, and it's not an outlook I want to have. This doesn't absolve me of things I've willingly done wrong and went along with, or the way I treated people who were fully undeserved. Okay, I told you already, I think a mistake was leading with this. I think a mistake was leading with the redacted stuff, her boyfriend stuff. I think a better way to phrase this is, I have a terrible work-life balance as it is. And being around projects and streams all day, every day made me lose sight of the point. It took all of this happening for me to realize this behavior isn't normal and healthy. And see, this leading with something like this on top would have been way better than leading with this, where it seems like you guys don't even talk to each other, but you guys are in a relationship together. But then you mention in here, after years of working on everything together, his hyper business oriented outlook warped my view, which honestly, it could be true that, you know, if you surround yourself with the sort of people, you're bound to kind of, they're bound to kind of rub off on you. I can totally see that happening, but as far as taking accountability, it doesn't look good to throw someone else under the bus, especially after years of working on everything together. Right? This is when you don't then say his hyper business oriented outlook warped my view. You know, like you can't, exactly as someone says, it's an excuse before taking any blame. Exactly. It kind of defeats anything, any accountability you're trying to take after. So I think a lot of this could have been avoided or not even put in here. We could talk more about how the phrasing should have gone, but you should have led with, I have turned into a piece of shit, into somebody I don't like to be. Bam. But okay, let's go. In regards to Nanoless, for the majority of time working with her, Red was the one almost solely doing communication about new plans and negotiation through his private DMs. Nano had a project server we were all part of where the actual art and models were worked on, but the conversations were focused around work itself. I was not fully aware of the extent of Red's manipulation over Nano's commission decisions. I kind of do. I can believe this. I can believe this. I know that a lot of people have a lot of hate in their hearts for Sinder, and they're going to easily say, nah, that's impossible. This is totally possible that when they were at pillow talk in the night, and this is me just assuming shit, it could totally be possible that when they were at pillow night or when they were in Discord call or whatever they do, I don't even know if they live together, they were probably e-fucking, I don't know. During this time, it is very possible that they talked lightly about the situation. Like I can see Sinder saying, hey, babe, so did you talk to Nano yet about the art that's coming? And he would answer, yeah, I did, but she has work with Val coming up, so I don't know what to do there. We should try to tell her to cancel, right? And then we'll pay her money. And then Sinder would probably be like, yes, I think that's a great idea. So I think that the conversations might have gone a little bit like this and not fully into detail. Like, hey, you need to do this. You need to do that, Nano. You need to do... I could totally see that being the gist, right? I could totally see that you lightly brush on the conversations and you really don't understand how deeply Red was manipulating. But you still had some sort of image of what's happening. You still know what's happening. You have to know what's happening. When you say up here, after years of working on everything together, then you don't get to backtrack and say you have no clue. So you have to have some sort of clue. I was not fully aware of the extent of Red of manipulation over Nano commission decisions. I believe that, and I should have been more diligent in my oversight. I still don't think anything would have changed. I think maybe she would have scolded him and said, hey, don't use that sort of word because maybe it can leak at some point. You know, I do believe that somebody must have a brain there and think something can leak at some time. Every time I had been told that Nano had agreed to work on a new commission with me, it had been willingly with excitement. From my point of view, it was she genuinely wanted to be working on these things. I wanted to work with Nano as much as possibly could, making her art the face of my brand. I totally could see that. We had come to the conclusion that it'd be in my best interest to talk with Nano about making more time for my projects, my negotiation with her to cut out other work. Okay, so she's acknowledging that, right? Making more time for my projects by negotiating with her to cut out other work. Okay, so she knows. This was wrong for us to push it onto her. And it was wrong to other creators who want the chance of working with her. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. By the way, I know that a lot of VTubers out there are like super friendly and fucking kumbaya, hold my pussy hairs together and let's walk through the forest like best girlfriends. But I don't see any problem with this. After all, this is a job, this is a business. If you have to try to secure artists to work with you long term. There is nothing wrong with trying to buy exclusivity. Nothing wrong. Okay, I want to put that out there. I don't believe that there's anything wrong with trying to buy off exclusivity, to work, have a specific artist be a face of your brand. Nothing wrong. However, though, the wrong does come into question when you are having friends, real life friends that share real life spaces with you. The problem is when you get their work canceled and when you're going behind their backs. That's the fucked up part. That's the fucked up part. I don't think hiring an artist for exclusivity, when you're hiring artists for exclusivity, that's not wrong. That's, as long as the artist is okay with working on it, that's an artist decision. I think that's okay. And honestly, a lot of VTubers do this. A lot of VTubers do this because it takes hella months, it takes hella years to prepare for a launch. So buying exclusivity, it can be seen as a pretty normal thing. Okay, the other stuff is not normal. The whole like, oh, you shouldn't work with this person. Oh, and Bao has been bad mouthing us. Oh, this person has been doing this. She's been acting strange. When they're your fucking friends, that's a little cringe. Okay, there was only one specific creator we were responsible for naming and pursuing Nano into reconsidering projects with, not an entire list of her own volition. Nano canceled a large portion of her model commissions last September. However, the claim that I was just using her is wrong. I've always treated Nano with respect and as my friend. I did give her a lot of work, and we did everything we could to accommodate her schedule. If she needed more time or break, and even helped her with her own project payments multiple times. I've invited her on my stream, I've sent her all my merch and things she made for me, and I always open to talking to her about things outside of our projects. In the instance, we would message each other regarding the exclusivity deal made between them. I had no part in the direct negotiations of the eventual agreement, and I had no knowledge of Bao and Cotton being included in this list. If I had known my friends were included, I would have said something to put a stop to it. I was only aware of being about one person who I was unfairly pursuing when Nano had messaged me about this agreement over a month. I don't know how believable this is. Again, this is your partner, your boyfriend. I do think that they should be treated separately, though. There is always how I handle things and how somebody else would handle things, so there's that. I don't believe entirely that she had no knowledge it was Bao and Cotton, though. I don't buy that for 1 second. I think you knew this. I think you knew this, and or at least had a hunch. Maybe it wasn't directly spoken, but you kind of had an idea. I would, at the very least, you kind of had an idea that Bao and Cotton were involved. That's just my assuming, chat. I could be really wrong, but that's just what I'm getting out of this. Look, I don't know Sinder that well, but by reading this and reading some of her stuff and checking in on her, I do believe that she's a sweet, nice girl underneath all of that. Like I said before I started reading this, I do think that she's a product of what this industry can do to you. And she's not the only one. And I mentioned that in my tweet. Maybe 90% of VTubers is an exaggeration, but I don't think she's the only one. I think there's a lot of bad actors out there. And I have a really strong hunches on them, but I'm not gonna name a couple of them. But there are some real bitches and real cunts in that industry. I'm not gonna name any names, but it's definitely more. But you know, that everything is gonna come out one day. Later, I was under the assumption this was only about Silvervale. I was upset, and my initial messages to her were very guilt-trippy. But I wasn't going to force Nano to do nothing she wasn't okay, and tried to reassuring her. that it was okay. Well, now this is by her adding this to this leads me to believe that, for lack of better words, Sinder is very fucking stupid, very naive. You say I was upset and my initial messages to her were very guilt-trippy, but I wasn't going to force Nano to do anything she didn't want to do. You know, that shit is kind of like, wait, hold up. Are we really going down that route? You really that dumb? You really that dumb? Like, you can't do that. You can't say, I can't think of an example right now, but that's very, that's dumb. Like, there's no way you added that in here. I would delete this. For the apology, I would just delete this. You know, like, Nano is a free human and she could do whatever she wants. I wasn't going to force her. I was just going to gaslight her, manipulate her, threaten to kill myself. I was going to do all of these things. But at the end of the day, it was still Nano's decision. You know what I mean? You can't really add that. It just doesn't look good. But, you know, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt that she's pretty dumb here. Nano had also never come to me as seriously and professionally as her document was looking to address the issues she had with her, either of us, or to terminate our partnership. Makes sense. I had no idea there was even this conversation about Shylily recently between Red and Nano until reading her document. It's true, I had confined and read that lately I had been hearing that from Lily, like I had in the past, was worried something was wrong, but that's as far as it went, and he took it upon himself to try digging for more information. I believe that. I believe it was not just mentioning it one time. You could have mentioned Shylily probably multiple times, but then you were not aware that Red brought it up. I could see that. I believe that. And I was never even aware Nano was ever planning to work on a model for another of my friends, Giri. I do not condone anything about what Red said about Bao in these DMs either, and him using we and our in the context is inherently incorrect, and I believe was done to gain greater credibility behind what he was saying. Yes, Red and I are initially upset when Bao hired my editor, and I took it personally when I shouldn't have. I felt as if maybe my content wasn't good enough, or like I wasn't paying enough for his work. Sorry for pausing a lot, you know, skip ahead if you don't like this, but I'm giving my thoughts on this whole thing. So you can see that she definitely has bitterness in the way she operates. I took it personally when I shouldn't have. It felt as maybe my content wasn't good enough. She is a troubled child. I sound like an old lady now, a disgruntled old lady. She's a troubled child. She has jealousness. She has jealousy. She has bitterness in her heart. And it could be just because this industry makes you this way, and it's totally acceptable by my own standards. I understand why she would feel this way. But you don't get to backtrack and saying that Red is working on his own. Red is also a product of your bitterness and your jealousness, because when you sit up at night and talk to your significant other, you share shit like that. You word vomit. You're vile together, and so you are guilty for creating Red the way he is, because I can assure you that because of your bitterness and the way you felt about the editor, you've also expressed those feelings to Red, therefore creating an image in Red's mind. Creating Red, I'm not saying that this guy is innocent. He's probably dog shit as well. But you're helping build this guy. You're helping build this image, and he's trying to do everything to be good by you. So when you're laid up at night, when you're private together, and you say, man, bitch, I really hate this chick, Bao. She's working with my editor, and it's making me feel a certain way. You're creating Red. You're making him want to do good by you. And he's seeing you hurting because of your feelings, so he's trying to do what's good for you, because you're probably late at night and you're confiding into with each other, and he's just trying to do the right thing. Again, I'm not trying to excuse this guy, but you can't just put everything on him either. This is something that you both created for each other. Yes, initially Bao hired editor, and my content wasn't good enough, or like I wasn't paying enough for his work, but I accepted it and was happy for him for getting that bag and supported one of my friends at the same time. And yes, I was also upset when Zach, the Boss Rush music video editor, had told us that he won't be working on any future plans with us and would instead be working exclusively for Bao. But Red got in his head that it was Bao's fault that it happened, and seemingly had a grudge against her for it. He was very passionate about Boss Rush and the potential future projects around it. But he told me without a music video editor as talented as Zach, the future projects wouldn't reach the same heights. So he created this headcanon that's laid out in those DMs. I wasn't convinced this was the case, but it's my fault for never speaking with Bao on these things directly to clear things up and letting it spiral to the point it got to. Every comment here about her own music, guilt tripping, and claims about our shared feelings towards her are disgusting. And I honestly don't know why he thought this way about my close friend beyond the resentment of those two things, or why it was worth sabotaging her over. I know why, because you helped create that image in his head, like I said. I know why he felt that way, because you were hurting. And when somebody sees someone they love hurting, they would probably do anything for you. So this is what's happening in my mind. In my mind, you cried late at night saying, oh my God, I'm not good enough. They've taken my editor. I've been canceled. And you're building this image to Red, and Red just wants to do something nice for you. So you built this image. You built this image that Red has about your friends. You built him the way he is. You guys built each other this way. It's not entirely your fault either. I think you guys built each other this way. The It Just Business screenshot of my DMs with Nano's document was from November 2023. And I'll go into the thought process of everything I said here. This is a long chat. I'm probably gonna skip. I'm probably gonna skip to the good bits. I would link it down below if you guys want to read it on your own. But I think I kind of know where this is going for the most part. Nano has an amazing skill where she is able to draw each of her VTuber children uniquely. So I was never upset seeing new model siblings. In many cases, I was there cheering them on their debuts and looking to collab with them as sisters when I could. I believe that. I believe that that could be true. Like I said, I don't think Sinder is a bad chick. I really don't. I don't know her that well, but I don't think she's bad. I just think she's been wrapped up and lost in the sauce. And when somebody does one mistake, I don't think they're necessarily a bad person. We're all capable of doing shitty things that we regret later on. And sometimes a lot of people don't get to see that because they never get called out on it. She got called out on it. But there's, like I said, I think there's still a lot more out there that people just don't know about. There's a lot, and the names are at the tip of my tongue. I can sense a fucking snake when I see one. And I've been in a lot of these VTuber streams, bro. There's a lot of these fucking fake bitches. A lot of these fake bitches. When talking about Silvervale, I need to start at the beginning. Before I was Sinder, I was a pink cherry blossom girl named Tashi that did ASMR content. When the VTuber boom happened in 2020, I knew I wanted to join in. Red and I contacted an artist in October, and they were set to start my VTuber design by December. The plan was to make Cherry Blossom persona Tashi and make her a pink and white wolf girl VTuber. In November of the same year, Silvervale revealed her Sakura wolf redesign. I had heard of Silvervale earlier that year, but I didn't watch her streams at all. We knew we had to pivot before we were stuck with a design that would just be a copy of one of the most popular VTubers at that time. Like I've explained many times on my stream, I knew I wanted to be a wolf girl, so I mixed my love of okami and metal music into the design and came out with a hellhound. My name was originally going to be Ember, but Red came up with the name Sinder since it was a mix of sin and cinder. Both hell and fire themed. It was only a coincidence that it ended up being similar to Silver. I was genuinely interested in pursuing a friendship with her and drew fan art myself of us together. I could see that. You know, you can have real admiration for people, and Silvervale Silvervale always comes across as very approachable and sweet and kind, so I could totally see that. On the other hand, Red was in my ear the whole time, saying how great working together would be, since again, he's been business-oriented side of my brand, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's good, he's looking out for you, right? It definitely would help you grow if you collab with as many people as you did, that helped you grow as you did, and as many other cloud-chasing VTubers do all the time. You act sweet. Oh my God, thank you so much for the raid. Oh my God, thank you so much, Anianers, you're so sweet. And you climb in this social ladder of fucking and talking and doing this and this, doing that, but you don't fucking backstab your friends. But anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. If you're gonna do this, at least keep it, you know, keep it real. And say, you know what, I appreciate this. This is just acquaintances. These are my collabs. They're not my friends, but they're my collabs. And, you know, I want to keep these relationships as tight as possible as acquaintances and not friends. I was accused of copying her design, copying her personality, even copying her laugh, all things. And there was a large number of people who were diehard believers in the fact that I stole all of the attributes maliciously for my own gain. Look, the VTuber space is filled with fucking 50-year-old weirdos who still hang up Naruto posters on their fucking walls and they jack off to lollies every fucking night. And that's just true. And they have way too much time and they invest too much time on this fucking fandom that is VTubing. Those fucking weirdos are weird and they're always going to compare you to the next fucking person. They're like out there trying, oh my God, did you see Elly? She released a new model and her new model has this haircut and is totally copying the Honed. You know, like you're always going to have some weird 50-year-old dude with Naruto posters being fucking really parasocial and weird with these VTubers. And like, there's nothing you can really do about that. You got it. Coming into this industry, you have to know that you're just going to be a copy paste of another VTuber. You're just going to be a copy paste of another VTuber, and you're going to have to let that shit roll off your back. It is what it is. People always think that their little VTube model, their VTuber that they follow is the original. No, it's not. Suck my dick. Pokemon existed before your VTubers. And all VTubers are just a fucking Pokemon. They're all a Pokemon or some fucking anime that has existed for 20 plus years. I grew more and more resentful of Silver over time. Between the constant belittling of myself, a controversy around my first waifu cup, and other incidents, even though she herself never interacted with me directly. And it was also the fact that made me insecure. Like I wanted to know if she believed all those things or not. It really felt as if she didn't like that I even existed in my space, which can be very true. I'm not speaking for Silver here, but I could see that potentially being true. But she's in her right to not like you if she doesn't want to like you, though. For whatever reason she may have, if she even dislikes you, she's in her own right to say, I don't want to fucking collab with you because I don't really fuck with you like that. I don't really want to be in spaces with you because I don't like you like that. She's entitled to feel that way, and you cannot convince and or try to manipulate a friendship out of something that is just not naturally going to happen. If somebody doesn't fuck with you, they don't fuck with you, and they're allowed to that perspective. They're allowed to feel that way. And it could be that maybe Silver did feel that way. I don't know, but it's not wrong. She didn't do anything wrong by it. She could choose who she wants to be part of her inner circle. So at that point, I was working with Nano consistently. We brought up not making any more models for her. If a VTuber model is how everyone recognizes you, then it'd be harder to compare us directly if we no longer look alike and have shared similarity. It was a wrong and selfish decision, but it made me feel better. And that's why it was a constant topic with Nano. This is good. This is some accountability. Still fucked up. You don't get any points, but it's some accountability. You understand your bitterness, your jealousy, your spitefulness. And the way we grow as people is when we understand we're wrong. When we know and we're aware of something not being right, that's when you can begin to change who you are as a person and try to rebuild yourself. So that's really nice of her to acknowledge that. Red pushed for this harder than I ever did. Okay, again, like you were doing so good, but then you said red pushed this harder than I ever did. No, sweetheart, you can't continue to do that. You didn't need to add this more. Like, we already know that this guy is a piece of shit. You don't need to convince us more. It's time that we know that you're a piece of shit. Red pushed for this harder than I ever did because he knew how it affected me for years. But no matter what the outcome was, I was going to walk away from working with a Nano. Silver was completely undeserving of this treatment, and it was my own insecurities that led me to making this choice. I become unapologetically evil towards her due to no direct action of her own. There's no excuse for this. Okay. Moving on from Silver, let me talk about Spite. Once again, I had no involvement or knowledge of Red bringing up Spite to Nano in 2023. My only personal involvement with excluding someone specific working with Nano was Silver. My design sheet and outfit were finished and made public at the very start of 2021. The first thing she mentioned is a debut teaser in 2022 that was apparently posted on the same day as her original debut, which I honestly don't know if at that time it was intentional or not. I don't know when my first discovered Sprite, and I could have been after she debuted it. When I first debuted it, I was positive of my design details, blah, 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 blah. I'm gonna skip through some of this chat. I already told you guys, I think the whole like Greek goddess outfit and Spite shit is coincidence from both of them. I don't think neither of these girls copied each other. I think trying to say that either of them copied each other is insecurities on both of their ends. And I've said that last time I reacted to the Spite stuff. I think it's insecurities from Sprite section and insecurities from this girl's perspective, Sinder. I don't think, I think copying outfits takes really long time. I don't think it's very possible for people to be copying with each other and their debuts planned already. It's really hard. Maybe I'm ignorant. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't really like working on, could it be, maybe, could she say this or this? Nah. That's a wash for me because we don't really know. This is just based off assumptions of insecurities at baseline. Spite also brought another creator who reached out to her about experience with me, and I can only assume it's Neanderthals. There are an ASMR artist who at one point posted Hellhound OC for upcoming ASMR videos. Blah, 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 blah. But the time I was ready to debut as Sinder, I wanted to leave that in the past. Still, the day I regret that decision and have been living with it since. Oh, this is about her cheating, right? Honestly, I don't give a fuck about this bitch cheating. I don't care. I don't really care about that. That's, to me, neither here or there. Yeah, if this is about her cheating stuff, I really don't care. I can give two shits about that. And lastly, I want to address Peaches. This is a very big problem I have. I'm sure many others in my position do too. At the end of the day, I'm one person. I'm one person working on multiple projects with multiple companies, talking to dozens of people and streaming for hours almost every day. I've never had a big social battery, and I get tired very easily when interacting with people. I haven't had much energy at all over the past year, leading to me taking frequent naps. I've rarely been able to keep up with my closest handful of friends on frequent basis, let alone everyone else. Red has always been a big help in keeping up with things, but he doesn't do everything. I am so sorry I made you feel forgotten, Peaches. I've always cherished your friendship, and I was so incredibly excited to meet you in Paris. I believe that. This whole VTuber thing does take a lot of time out of people. I believe that. I don't deserve to be able to contact everyone involved directly to personally apologize. So I'll do it here. In chance they read it. To Nano, I'm sorry I let things get to this point, or even entertain the thought of you working exclusively for me. That's nothing bad though, again. And if you think this is bad, chat, fuck you and fuck whoever's listening. Artists working exclusively is not a bad thing. The bad thing is when you're forcing your artists to cancel work for other people and manipulating and gaslighting. That's the bad part. For your friends especially. An artist working exclusive is not bad. No. Especially when you're paying good money for it. Okay, the artist is getting a bag. So that's not the bad part. Exclusivity is not bad part. That's not fair to you. I wouldn't be here without you and wouldn't have been able to do most of what already's done without you. I felt overly attached to our relationship over the past 4 years and loved your work so much that I wanted to make myself exclusive to your art, which is totally fine. And again, I think there's a lot more VTubers that also fit in this narrative. You think you're really stupid if you think that VTubers aren't commissioning slots in advance for exclusivity. Most importantly, of course they would, and they would play gladly, probably more on top of what they already pay so they can have more exclusivity. This is not a surprising thing. It happens and it will continue to happen. Okay, so she's sorry for doing all that stuff. To Bao, since the start, I've always admired you and how you genuinely always been to everyone. I wouldn't be here without you. Bao, my very few interactions with Bao have been very sweet. She does come across as a very sweet person. I don't get that bad vibe from Bao. I got a very good snake bitch fucking radar, and I can tell a motherfucking snake when I see one, when I hear them. And Bao has never given me that. She's been nothing but sweet. But anyways, I don't have a lot of time with her, so I could be wrong too. I've never had such genuine friendships in my life, especially with you. We've gotten to know each other so online and in persona, blah 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 blah. I'm so sorry, Bao. After watching last night, Bao had a stream that lasted about an hour, which was a crying from start to finish. I'm not sure, I am sure that this apology did not bode well with Bao. No. This apology, Bao saw it and was deeply saddened by this apology, so it didn't convey anything. To Zach, music editor, to Cotton and Lily, I'm so sorry you had to get dragged into this. It's my fault. I let this get this far, but I hope you can believe me when I say I had no knowledge Red bringing you up in Nano's DMs. I just learned about it all myself. I do believe that this can be true. That she didn't know to the extent Red was bringing up those other girls. I do believe that. I don't believe that it wasn't a mutual shared feeling though. The reason Red probably brought up the way he did in DMs is because you guys talked privately about your feelings about certain creators. So this made Red try to do the absolute most for your sake. So I do believe that she didn't entirely know how he was bringing it up, but that she was aware that this is that her feelings were very much expressed to him, and that's why he did what he did. Yeah. And if I knew Red was trying to exclude specific friends in this exclusive deal, I would have spoken up. None of my friends are worth sacrificing over an art piece. I love being your friend and all the memories we've shared, and I hope someday you can forgive me. I think there's a 50-50 truth to this. I think there's some truth to this. I don't think her and Red are one person either. I do think that there is a way that somebody handles things differently, but I do think at the end of the night, you guys shared a lot of conversations and expressed how you feel. Maybe you didn't tell him directly, hey Red, get rid of Cotton and Lily's art. Maybe you didn't say that. Maybe you said, man, Lily's getting a new model and this is really gonna suck, man. And then Cotton is also getting one. And then like, when am I gonna get my model? It's gonna be a year from now? Man, my career is gonna tank if this happens. And so Red hears that. And Red tries to act on your behalf for what is better for you. I don't think that you directly told Red, hey, cancel this, and cancel this. No, but you've spoken about it in a way where he felt like he needed to protect you. That's what I think happened. To Silver, since the start, I love that I saw someone else sharing so similar similarities to me. And I thought maybe someday we could talk about it and be good friends. And I was blind by all these hate comments around me calling you lesser half, blah, 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 blah. Say hi to you at conventions and support your endeavors. But despite all of that, I was still being eaten alive by my own doubts. Yeah. I was pressured by the community. The photo at the meet and greet was taken candidly, and I thought it looked so cute, and I posted it without asking you which was wrong of me. That's some accountability, and she's completely taking accountability for the Silvervale thing. That's good. She's not pushing this on anybody else. She's saying, hey, I'm a spiteful, jealous person, and I'm very sorry you didn't deserve this. Despite I'm sorry I had assumed things that your design weren't true. To Peaches, blah, 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 blah. To Rain. I think this is the girl she had the affair with, right? Rain? I'm sorry you were dragged into the drama. And I'm sorry to my pyro pups and my mods for expecting me to lead by better example. Okay, chat. So, let me give you my final thoughts and my rating on this apology. Maybe this is a new YouTube series for me. Rating apologies. I think 50 of it is good. So I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. 50, it's 50-50. I think less mentioning of Red would have been better for this. More accountability. Even if you do... Look, I'm going to be honest, chat. Even if you do believe that you're not really 100% to blame for this, even if your hearts of hearts, and it's true. Let's assume you do not deserve all of this. You have to fall on that spike. You just have to. A 0 out of 1, no ukulele. You just have to. Sometimes you just have to say, you're still in this like argumentative sort of like, no, but let me get my stuff up. Let me get my point up. No, but I wasn't involved. You're like doing this back and forth by throwing Red in there and saying, I didn't know this. Sometimes less is more. And you just didn't have to include Red as much as you did. You didn't have to, I didn't know this and that. It would have been... Shut up, bitch. You didn't have to add all of that. So yeah, I mean, for me, and to anybody watching this, I don't crucify Sinder. I've been reporting this Sinder thing because obviously it benefits me in my career. People are watching me. People are retweeting me. People are liking my perspective of this whole thing. So I'm not going to pretend like it's not benefiting me in one way or another. But I am reporting on this simply because, I don't know, I just woke up one day and I'm like, wait, what is this VTuber drama? Let me react to it on stream. Didn't really give it much thought. I don't hate Sinder. I don't care for Sinder. I don't care if Sinder goes live tomorrow and has 10,000 views, because I think that you're uncancelable in this world anyways. She's gonna come back. She's still gonna have her 1,000, 2,000 people. People don't really care about this as much as you guys think. It's only those loud 13-year-old Twitter people on the internet that are telling you to get in a hot tub and throw a toaster on it. Because look, I've been threatened. My life has been threatened at least 3 times on Twitter just because of this VTuber drama. So like, I totally expect for her to be receiving a lot of this, and I don't think it's deserved. I think Sinder, underneath all of this, if I had to get my best analysis of character, I think that she's a great person. I do. I think she's a great person that lost her ways. I think she's a great person that lost her ways. And if she dusts herself off and she knows what she did wrong, you can improve. And I do believe this apology is genuine. I would have done a better job. I did do a better job at writing an apology for her. I think this would have been a better, like a 8 out of 10 apology if she didn't add Red too much into this. I think he can speak for himself, and I think he should have written an apology himself. And I think now if Red does come out and puts an apology and takes all the blame, which I think he will do, I think Red will come out. If he comes out, I think he's gonna put an apology and he's gonna blame himself for everything. And that's just not right. And it's going to look really bad on you. If you want a piece of advice, don't let Red type out anything. Keep your boyfriend. Y'all don't need to break up for shit. It's not his fault. It's both of y'all's fault. Y'all turned each other into this mess that you guys are. And just learn from this. Just learn from this. You know, how to be a better person and how to be more discreet. Because trust me, there's a lot of VTubers out there that are dog shit pieces of people. They're bad people. They're fucking social ladder climbing, fucking conniving snake bitches. There's a lot of those VTubers out there, but they're really sneaky about it and they haven't got caught. Their shit is still hidden. That's the problem. The problem that you did here is that your bitch ass got caught. You would have been a sweet, innocent person to everybody else, but you got caught. That's the problem. The problem is that you got caught. And if you really do want to change, though, and not be this person, I think you're capable of it because at least you sound like you realize your mistakes. But yeah. The beginner stuff, just don't get caught. And before anybody says, that sounds like projection, because I have a lot of about 13 to 15-year-olds in my chat, in my Twitter saying, oh, it sounds like self-projecting what you're saying, Elly. It sounds like you're projecting. It sounds like you're like this, Elly. How can I be like that if I have no industry friends, you fucking dumbass frog? I can't be that person if I have nobody to backstab. You stupid? You stupid ass. How can I backstab somebody if I don't even have anybody to backstab? Stupid. You know why I don't have people to backstab? Because I don't want any friends in the industry. I don't need them either. I've got acquaintances that I'm friendly with. I like a lot of these VTubers, and I'm like, yo, what's up? Good model. I'm always there to say my kudos to Bebe, to Silver, to Yochi. I'm there to say hi to them and be acquaintance, and I have nothing negative to say about them. So that's as far as it goes. Like, I don't really care to be in like dining table with them either. Yeah. You stab them 50-year-old idol nerds. Yeah, so there's my piece, chat. I have given my piece. I have spoken up. And I think this apology is a big fat 5 out of 10. And it would have been better if there was a cut. I would cut 50% of this off. As a matter of fact, I've already did a good job at writing the apology myself. Next time you need an apology, I got you. This is how the apology should have been. Stop it. Get off this thing. Hi, guys. I'm a piece of shit. I'm sorry to everyone involved, and I'm sorry I tried to pin this on anyone. I would take accountability. I knew everything that was going on between the artist and the manager. And though I might not have phrased things the way they did, I 100% knew what was going on. I'm not a perfect person, and I got swept up by what this industry can do to you. I got greedy. I got bitter. I got jealous. And most importantly, I hurt those closest to me and people that didn't deserve any of my vicious toxicity. I know this may not make things right, and your trust will probably never get mended. But this is all I have. I'm open, coming to you with my guard down, and I'm ready for what comes next. I could write and you deserve more. I could write more and you deserve more. But I don't want to get my genuine apology to be lost by endless word vomit. I did some fucked up stuff, and I'm not proud of it. I plan to grow from this. That is how it should have looked, chat. That's how it should have looked.
Proud. I plan to grow.
Let him know, Tech Town. So yeah, we're done. This is done. This is the end of the chapter. I have a feeling a couple of people are going to come out and speak up about this later. But we're not going to really cover it unless it's super juicy Omega good. Unless it's super juicy Omega good, then we'll cover it. But for the most part, nah, we're kind of done. Not so fast. Hit that subscription button before you head out. How about that?